all of you, respected senior doctors, my senior colleagues, dear friends. Myself, Dr. Sarika Verma, is going here to present a case of hyperemesis gravidarum admitted and managed in our hospital. This is a case of Mrs. Mosmi Barwa, wife of Mr. Kanak Barwa, 30-year premigravida, married since 1 year, housewife by occupation and belonging to low socioeconomic status. She was admitted in our hospital with complaints of vomiting from 2 to 3 weeks, severe upper abdominal discomfort along with amenorrhea of 7 weeks. Vomiting initially used to occur with episodes 1 to 2 episodes per day, which increased in severity from last 5 to 6 days and then used to occur after anything she took orally. Sometimes it was associated with blood-tinged vomitus. Their past history reveals history of typhoid and hepatitis 1 year back required hospitalization. Past surgical history is not significant. In her family, father was hypertensive. There was no history of any drug intake in last 1 year. On admission, her general examination revealed poor general condition, but patient was conscious, alert, oriented. Pallor and dehydration present at the time of admission. Her vitals were there were mild tachycardia with pulse rate 94 per minute, respiratory rate 28 per minute, and mild hypertension with blood pressure 100 by 60 mm of mercury. Her systemic examination were within normal limits, and the patient was admitted, investigated, and managed further. On investigation, all blood investigations were within normal limits except derangement in the liver function test and thyroid function profile. Her liver function test revealed total bilirubin 1.5 mg per day, direct bilirubin being 0.5 mg and indirect bilirubin being 1 mg per day. SGOT level were 146 international unit per liter and SGPT concentration was 254 international unit per liter. Her thyroid profile revealed serum TSH concentration well below the normal range of the TSH level.
थोड़ा स्लो
0.01 in micro international unit per ml. Total T4 is 12 mg per percentage, which is high normal. But free T3 and T4 were normal limit with free T3 concentration 3.30 nanogram per ml and free T4 concentration 1.4 mg percentage. Her ultrasonography revealed single live intrauterine fetus of 7 week 2 days gestation. Patient was managed symptomatically and conservatively with initial IV fluids, antibiotic and treatment of gastritis, deranged liver function. But gradually she was shifted to oral feeding and oral medicines after initial improvement. Serial monitoring of liver function test and thyroid profile done. Patient responded well and discharged. In this case of hyperemesis gravidarum, as she was not responding to routine medication, suspicion of hyperthyroidism arose on receiving the low TSH levels, which can be seen here as serum TSH level of patient was 0.01 micro international unit per ml, which is quite well below the lower limit of the normal range. Then we went on to do free T3 and T4 concentration, which were within normal limits, though total T4 was high normal. Knowing fully well about the changes in the thyroid function in pregnancy and clinical dilemma in which a clinician can fall if not aware of these normal physiological changes, I had highlighted this indeed disorder in pregnancy, which if not managed properly can have grave maternal and fetal outcome. But before coming on various thyroid disorders that may complicate a pregnancy, let's have a short review about some other conditions that may occur concurrently with pregnancy and mimic hyperemesis gravidarum. These conditions may include gastrointestinal disorders such as gastroenteritis, achalasia, hepatitis, pancreatitis, appendicitis, peptic ulcer diseases, some genitourinary tract diseases such as pyelonephritis, ovarian torsion, kidney stone, uremia, some metabolic disorders such as diabetic ketoacidosis, hyperthyroidism, hyperparathyroidism, Addison's disease, neurological disorders including migraine, pseudotumor cerebri, tumors of central nervous system, vestibular lesion, and some pregnancy-related conditions such as acute fatty liver of pregnancy and preeclampsia may also mimic hyperemesis gravidarum. Sometimes it may be caused by drug toxicity or intolerance, and sometimes it is only a psychological factor. Now coming on various thyroid disease in pregnancies. First of all, coming on normal physiology of thyroid. As we all know, there are two types of thyroid hormone, T3 and T4. T4 is synthesized mainly from thyroid gland, while 80% of T3 comes from peripheral conversion of T4, mainly in liver and kidney. T3 is 5 times more potent than T4, but rate of secretion of T4 is 20 times more than T3. T3 is responsible for most of the thyroid functions, while T4 serves as prohormone mainly. As T3 has less protein binding affinity, it has greater entry into the cell. Both these hormones act via nuclear receptors. Now coming on normal physiology of thyroid gland. As we all know, there exists a hypothalamic pituitary thyroid axis, which can be clearly shown here. Thyrotropin releasing hormone secreted from paraventricular nuclei of hypothalamus act on act on pituitary gland, which causes secretion of thyroid stimulating hormone, which act on thyroid follicle and causes the release of T3 and T4. These T3 and T4 act as in a negative feedback action, as a negative feedback mode, and regulate hypothalamus and pituitary gland. Thus, overall thyroid physiology is regulated in circulation. In periphery, T4 is also converted into T3, and T3 and T4 are excreted mainly by liver after conjugation. This diagram depicts about how T3 and T4 are synthesized at the molecular level in thyroid gland. The rate limiting step is being iodide trapping, which is mediated by thyroid stimulating hormone. Now coming on thyroid physiology in pregnancy. As pregnancy is a hypermetabolic state, there is increase in basal metabolic rate, iodine uptake, and there is also increase in size of thyroid gland secondary to hyperplasia and increased vascularity of the gland. However, a pregnant woman remains euthyroid with normal T3 and T4 and TSH concentration. The increase in the thyroid activity is due to chorionic thyrotropin, which is secreted from placenta, and thyrotropic activity of HCG. As serum HCG levels are maximum for first 12 weeks of pregnancy, weak thyrotropic activity of HCG leads to decrease in serum TSH levels and increase in free thyroxine level. This increase of thyroid overactivity is in pregnancy is compensated by markedly increased level of thyroid binding globulin secondary to an estrogenic stimulation, which causes increase in the thyroid binding globulin synthesis and reducing its hepatic clearance by increasing its glycosylation. Increase in the thyroid binding globulin lead to increase in total as well as bound form of T3 and T4, but free T3 and T4 levels actually decreases, although these all remain within the normal range. Now there exists an inverse relationship between TSH levels and HCG concentration, which can be clearly depicted with this diagram, which shows how thyrotropin level decreases with increase in the serum HCG level in early weeks of gestation, and both normalizes up to mid gestation. This diagram also clearly depicts how thyroid binding globulin and total T4 concentration rises in early gestation, but remains at their high levels throughout the rest of the pregnancy. Now there is also reduction in the plasma iodide concentration due to fetal monodeiodinases and increased maternal glomerular filtration rate of iodine. Now few points about transplacental circulation. TSH does not crosses placenta, but throughout pregnancy, thyroxine is transferred to fetus and its contribution to fetal level remains important till term. This is about the molecular similarity between HCG and TSH, and this diagram clearly depicts the overall thyroid physiological regulation in a pregnant lady, which shows how placenta acts by three ways. First of all, it causes increase in the estrogen levels, leading to increase in thyroid binding globulin synthesis in liver, and which causes decrease in the free hormones level. Placenta also secretes HCG, which has weak thyrotropic activity, and thus lead to decrease in the TSH and increase in the T3-T4 concentration. Placenta also has deiodinases, which causes more conversion of T4 into T3 and reverse T3. Now coming on various thyroid disorders that may complicate a pregnancy, starting from hyperthyroid disorders, its prevalence being 0.5 to 2% of pregnancies, and most common cause being Graves' disease, but other causes also rare, but may include single toxic adenoma, multinodular goiter, subacute thyroiditis, gestational trophoblastic diseases, viral thyroiditis, and tumors of the pituitary gland or ovary. Sometimes it may be due to transient hyperthyroidism in hyperemesis gravidarum and gestational transient thyrotoxicity. Diagnosis is made by clinical presentation as well as laboratory confirmation. The patient may present with vague symptoms such as restlessness, fatigue, weakness, failure to gain weight despite adequate food intake, diarrhea, and heat intolerance. There may be tachycardia more than for the normal pregnancy, tremor and muscle weakness, goiter and exophthalmos. Laboratory confirmation done by markedly low level of TSH level, which is below the 0.01 microinternational unit per liter, along with an elevated serum free T4 concentration. It may be difficult to determine the cause, but measurement of thyrotropin receptor antibody is important in case of Graves' disease affecting pregnancy. Now about pregnancy outcome, there may be maternal and fetal complications. Maternal complications may include spontaneous abortion, preterm delivery, preeclampsia, heart failure, placental abruption, while fetal outcome may be in the form of intrauterine growth retardation, stillbirth, prematurity, fetal thyroid, hyper or hypofunction, fetal goiter. There may be neonatal thyrotoxicosis, decreased IQ of the offsprings, and overall there is increased perinatal and maternal mortality and morbidity. Now coming on guidelines for the clinical management of maternal hyperthyroidism during pregnancy. Guidelines says use the lowest doses of thalidomide to maintain maternal total T4 concentration in the upper 1/3 of normal to slightly elevated range for pregnancy. In pregnancy, normal range of total T4 is estimated to be 1.5 times 10 non-pregnant stage. Monitor maternal total T4 serum concentration every 2 to 4 weeks and titrate thalidomide as necessary. Measure TSH receptor antibodies at 26 to 28 weeks of gestation to assess the risk of fetal and neonatal hyperthyroidism. Perform fetal ultrasound at weeks 26 to 28 to assess the potential fetal response to thalidomide treatment as well as effect of TSH receptor antibodies on fetal thyroid function.